Reaperman here, and today we're going to go from this to this. Welcome to the controller storage video. This is a video aimed at folks who have to store lots of controllers in hopefully less annoying ways. We're going to talk about some bad storage methods, my current favorite method, a couple older methods I use, then we're going to pull back and look at my main controller storage, which is about 2 feet that way. Also, I've got this video chaptered out, so feel free to skip around. So starting off, recently over on AtariAge there was a post that's a bit of a personality quiz, if you will, how you wrap your N64 controller and what it says about you. Now that's some real cosmopolitan level trash there, and a bit of a variation on the how do you do fellow kids meme that I kind of call the hello fellow retro gamers meme, where somebody pretends to be a little bit more old school than they are. Anyway, looking at that picture, it just breaks my heart. There's zero allowance for strain relief on the top of those controllers. It's probably worse for those controllers than playing Mario Party, and nobody who has old N64 controllers today is gonna really treat their controllers that way. Now, the person that posted that was genuinely surprised that we don't do that. But I mean, none of the other people in the thread were surprised, but what I was most surprised by is we all had the same solution. Now, N64 controllers are odd. They're big controllers, they're hard to store, and we all stored them the same way. And that's essentially this way. So we have an allowance for strain relief off the top. Let's pull out one of these. Then we come down and we have some method of coiling the cable up, surrounded by one of these velcro straps. These velcro straps, if you will. Now there are kind of the official velcro straps, which have kind of a low profile on the hook and loop, and then there's these generic ones which have a bit more depth on their hooks. I don't really have a preference between them. I will say that of course the generic ones are significantly less expensive. And these are a great solution for controllers because, among other things, they actually stay on the cord. So if we look, we open this thing up, we unravel it here, and we can see that this thing is wrapped around the controller, and that's just how we all store our N64 controllers. Now, that is because N64 controllers are a little bulky. And of course we have even bulkier controllers. We have flight sticks and fight sticks, and I basically store those in a variation of the same. One difference in this variation is I will often stick one of these little adhesive clips on there, and then I will snag one loop of the cable through there, and that's to just kind of keep this thing together. Now, when you're doing big awkward sticks, storage does become a little bit of a hassle. Most of these arcade sticks aren't going to reasonably fit into a plastic bag, and plastic bags are great for not tangling up cords, as you see over here with this one. But for the smaller controllers, like this NES Max over here, let's go ahead and let's just fix it. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this thing right here, we're going to wrap it around, we're going to Velcro it to ourselves. I suppose there's probably religious people out there who say hooks in versus hooks out. It looks like I went loops in this time, the smooth side. And let's try and straighten this cable out as best we can here. Now, the nice thing about this method is it's super quick. It's kind of like folding a bed sheet. So we're going to pull this cable down about here. We're never going to get the positioning right, so don't even bother trying. And then we're just going to find the halfway point between these two hands, and then we're just going to double it up, smooth it down, double it up, smooth it down, and it is pretty optional to go this last one. I'm going to do it for the video here, but it doesn't really matter because we are going to be throwing them in a bag. So I know what you're thinking, and that's, if we're throwing it in a bag, is this hook and loop really necessary? And the answer to that is no, not really. But if you don't throw it in the bag, they will tangle, and this hook and loop here, this is going to keep the controller less bulky. Whereas if you just kind of coiled it up around itself, it would actually start to slowly somehow expand in the bag and take up more room. And boom! Now we've got a second controller here. Now, I have done some older methods, and one of them are these bread ties here. Now, I still have bread ties on a lot of my controllers. A big downside of them is they don't generally stay on the controller cable. I guess you could twist them up that way, but I never did, so I was more than happy to switch over to these Velcro ones over here. But the bread ties, they're all right, and as I use controllers that are bread tied up, I will switch them over to the Velcro just because it's a better solution here. Now, another thing that I used to do is I used to use these really obnoxious and very expensive kind of ratcheting clips. I don't have any more of them in my collection, so you're just going to have to be satisfied with this picture here. So anyway, I guess that's about all there is to look at on these here Velcro strips. I mean, basically you just kind of, everybody pretty much universally, if you haven't gotten on board yet, buys these kind of Velcro cable management strips. They come in, the generic ones are in a 50 pack for about $6. And I suppose it's about twice that expensive for the actual Velcro branded ones. Anyway, let's back the camera up here and see what I've got going inside my actual main controller storage here. So we're going to go shaky cam for a second. Oop. And we're going to pull back a little bit. Now this is my workbench, and this is actually something I put together during the Rona virus as a spot to actually do work at. But this side of it is actually my controller section here. And I've got some shelves with some kind of cloth bins down there with controllers in them. And I've got some plastic bins up a little bit higher. But this is kind of where I put my controllers. Now if we just pan down a little bit, we can see that I've got some kind of fake arcade controllers. The ones that don't have arcade parts sitting in front of their plastic bins. And that's just kind of definitely requires some kind of a plastic bag setup for all of these controllers and extension cables, or else they just get horribly unmanageable in here. Anyway, this has just been a quick video about controller storage. I was really surprised to see that we all basically had the same method of controller storage, so if you haven't picked up Velcro for your own controllers, definitely feel free to do so. Till next time, Reaperman out.